Normally, you know, it's all freshmen, sophomores. How hard is that to do?
It's tough, and it's also, you know, in recruiting, you do the best job you can about getting people that you think are going to be great players in the program, and sometimes they don't work out, or there's injuries and things like that along the way, so there's things you don't expect. But I definitely think it's a challenge as coaches to make sure you try to get the right people, you lay out the right classes together, and make sure that you're not rebuilding, that you've got a solid group, and then when they get to be juniors and seniors, they really help the program.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think sometimes it's things that you can't really control. So we haven't lost guys in terms of transferring, but we've had red shirts, and you know, sometimes the kid doesn't fit your culture, and that hurts you. So you know, I think right now we're finally in a position where we're getting old, and we have the potential to stay older.
Gino, transfers. You don't necessarily needed to do that as much. Why do you feel sometimes the need, though, to fill those voids with transfers?
I think it depends on your particular situation that season. I mean, what you're starting to see around the country is kids make decisions sometimes real early of where to go to school, and then they get there and I think it's, Matilda just said, sometimes it doesn't work. And there's nothing wrong with that kid, there's nothing wrong with that school, it just doesn't work. And they just happen to fill a need that you have. So, you know, it's something that you decide you want to take a risk on. Ideally, I don't think it's great because I've always said that a really good player can play for any coach. So I hate when a player says, well, you know, coach this and this, that. You know, it's probably as much your fault as anybody else's. So when you take a transfer, you're bringing somebody in that is already predisposed to look elsewhere for why things aren't working out for them. So it's a real gamble, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I would say it doesn't work more times than it does.
Ethan, why has the junior college route worked well for Wichita?
Well, I coached junior college, and so I think knowing the programs that have great coaches, and you know that they've been through their program for 2 years and they've been taught, and sometimes when you're trying to get a program off the ground, you have to approach it at multiple angles. You can't just recruit high school. I mean, we're trying to get the best high school kids we can get, international players, and junior college to help us get the program off the ground and where we want it to be. So we've had some really good judo players that played for us and done well.
You know, I noticed with these groups, and there aren't a lot of double-digit scorers returning. Really, last season, is that a product of just better balance or better scouting, defense? Why is it that there's not sort of multiple double-digit scorers or weren't multiple-digit scorers last season?
Well, I might turn this over to Keith because we had a whole conversation last night about there aren't as many guys out there that can really shoot the ball anymore. And, you know, you're constantly looking for guys that can shoot it and make it. And there just aren't enough of those guys out there anymore.
I think you definitely have a lot of kids that are one-dimensional or two-dimensional. You know, that well-rounded player, I think, is something that when you latch on to that, that's a really good get, because I think kids focus on a couple of things, but a well-rounded player too is something that they can pass it, they can rebound it, they can shoot it. There's nobody born a natural shooter. You got to get in the gym and work a lot. And when you see a kid that can really shoot it, you already know one thing about him without even talking to him. They spend a lot of time in the gym when they can shoot it.
Lisa?
Well, I would tell you, one of the greatest examples, I think, of someone changing their role and becoming that double-digit scorer is Crystal Freeman. You know, she didn't play very much her freshman year. Last year, you know, she had really a breakout year, but she did exactly what Keith was saying. I mean, she was in the gym, she was in the weight room, she really changed that. So, you know, I definitely believe that's a part of it. Is getting in the gym and figuring out how you can play in this league and how you can score. It's not the same way as high school. But also, I think we do have some teams with balance, and they play a lot of players. If you go deep in your roster, and it's a little difficult to have those double-digit scores, so we probably have a little bit of both.
Gino, for what Keith was saying, how much are you seeing that more one-dimensional players versus players that might be a little bit more well-rounded?
Yeah, I agree with everything these guys have said. My experience over the years has been that the NCAA keeps making more rules, and I don't know where they come from. I guess coaches are voting on this stuff, I don't know, where it limits how much time the kids are in the gym. And then they wonder why they're not getting that much better, where they're not encouraged to be in the gym a lot, so they have to do it on their own. So it's a combination of they're coming out of high school, a lot of these kids, and they don't know how to me, the biggest thing is they don't know how to compete. They just want to play. So they've grown up just playing basketball. They haven't grown up learning how, when I play, I have to win. I played. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. Whoopie-doo, you got your ass kicked. That's not basketball. Basketball is you're playing to win. I have to make the shot because it means winning and losing as opposed to just playing. And I see that a lot. Kids just like to play, but when it comes to winning, they don't know how to win. So there's no premium on efficiency. It's how many shots do I get and not how many do I make. You don't need a lot of shots. I tell my players a lot of times, I've never had a kid lead the league in scoring except twice. 2 kids in the history of my program led the league in scoring. Because when you don't take a lot of shots and score 15 points a game, that's better than taking a lot of shots and scoring 23 and your team loses. They don't buy that. Kids don't buy that.
I said this in the earlier group. I feel like we're crossing the threshold here where women's sports and obviously much more attention nationally, internationally. We're coming off an exciting WNBA finals. What are you seeing on the ground level with your players about how they're reacting to seeing more role models, more coverage, people that they can relate to more than when we were all younger? Keith, let's start with you.
Well, I think social media has definitely played a role in that. Our players and all of us we're on it every day, so there's obviously opportunities to learn about pro players and identify with someone that you see play that you think you're similar to. So those role models, I think it's there. I'd like to have more WNBA games on national TV. I think those that are really into the game, we get the all access pass and we watch that through the internet. But still think we got a long ways to go, and I feel for our American players that have to go overseas during the winter. I mean, it's a big sacrifice.
They push the parade in the spring.
Yeah.
Because the Mystics, the players are already there overseas.
Yeah, so I think that's tough. I think we can do better here in the United States with that. But social media, I think, has changed a lot of that.
Lisa, Matilda?
I definitely believe it's great that they see, again, they see women playing, they got together and watched the WNBA finals, it's something they aspire to. I think even the college game, now that there's more games on, they watch that. I love when players watch basketball. I hate when someone doesn't watch basketball because I'm with Gino, they don't know how to compete, they don't know how to win in certain situations, so I think that's been really good. We're fortunate enough this spring to have the opportunity to host the Final Four. And our players are going to be very involved in a lot of that, and I think that's going to be great for us, just to, again, our players to see the whole lead up to the Final Four. We're going to work with the community, but all of those things, I think, get them thinking about what the future is of basketball, but also how to make the most of the opportunity right now.
I think it also comes from dads bringing their daughters to games and allowing them to see those female athletes. Just watching the Mystics in Sun game the other night, you got the Washington Wizards at the game. They kept showing those guys, and John Wall and those guys are jumping up and down and cheering, and I think that creates more interest as well when they see those professional guys cheering on the women's team.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a lot of the Celtics were cheering on the Sun as well.
Yeah, one of the things that I ask my players a lot is, do you watch other women's basketball games on TV? And invariably, they always say no. They don't. One is they don't know
where to find it.
1996 or 97 when the league started, and I remember doing color commentary for ESPN. There was a specific night, a specific day, every week when there was a WNBA game on ESPN. There was a night of the week when it was on Lifetime, and there was a day of the week when it was on NBC. 3 games a week, you knew exactly what days, and you could find it. That went away. So that's number one. Number two, I guarantee if you poll these kids right here, they'll watch a men's game, and they know who's playing for Duke and North Carolina and those other guys. Maybe they'll watch an NBA game. But very rarely do women turn on a WNBA game or another women's college game. So the ones that do, the kids that do, they do get better. They do watch. They do learn. They say, I want to model my game after her. So this particular WNBA finals, that captured a lot of people because of the level of play, the way it was played, the style of play of both teams, some of the personalities in the game. That was a huge moment for women's basketball, what happened in that 5-game series, and I think that's going to have a lot of carryover.
We're also in an Olympic year coming up. How much, obviously, you've done great things with the U.S. Olympic team. How much can that also benefit, and have a trickle down?
The women's soccer phenomenon, it happens every 4 years, and then this year it took on a life of its own because of what happened. But they have their own platform every 4 years during the summer when nothing else is going on. It's their deal. When we were at the Olympics in London and when we were at the Olympics in Rio, there's so much going on. There's so many sports televised. You're traveling with your men's team. So there's a game. You never get to have your show, you're the stage, it's your moment. So women's basketball has been hurt by not having their own moment. And now, the World Cup is coming up. Well, actually, it was last year in Spain. Anybody even know about it? Like, even the World Cup for the men this year. Anybody know about it? Not much. But for some reason, women's soccer World Cup, every 4 years, captures the country's imagination. The women's basketball team has had more success at the Olympic level than any other team in history. Nobody knows about it.
Figure it out.
Nobody talks about it.
Let me shift to scheduling. To get to the top league, to get in the NCAA tournament, got to schedule well. The non-conference. You are all in areas where there's, very good college basketball. The nearby Big 12 schools, Tulsa, Wichita, clearly near the SEC, which is a power. How critical has it been, or will you try to, as well, improve that non-conference scheduling to get out of your comfort zone and challenge your team? We'll start with you, Keith.
Well, I think scheduling, you have to really know where your team is at, what level your team. If you overschedule, that can be a problem. That can end up hurting your conference. So I think having a pulse for, if your team is an NCAA tournament team, then you need to schedule that way. Last year we were the 5th youngest team in the country and had a lot of freshmen starting, and it wouldn't have been wise for us to take on what you're talking about at that moment with where we were at in our program. But as we get better, our schedule will get better. So you just got to have a pulse for where your team is at, and then schedule wisely to accomplish what you think your level is at.
I think next to recruiting, schedule is the hardest thing we do. If you've got a really good team, it's hard to get good teams on your schedule. we play a lot of SEC teams. I think that's one of the things over the years, being located where we are, we've had the opportunity to play SEC and Big 12 and some ACC, and I think that's really helped our program a lot. I agree with Keith that it's a balance, but I also know that your program gets better when you play better teams. We were talking about who you scrimmage. I was talking to someone earlier, and I think even scrimmaging these close scrimmages, we want to play somebody good, because that's where we start the season and get their attention. So I definitely believe to build a league, you got to play those teams, but you do have to beat them.
And you know, we were right in the middle of Big 12 country, and we've played Oklahoma. We're playing Oklahoma State this year. We've played Kansas State. Traditionally, we've played Arkansas every year, home and home. So I think as when you're recruiting, players want to come into a program that's going to play those kind of games. And so it's fun to go play an in-state school in Oklahoma or Oklahoma State. Our guys get up to go play Arkansas. So those are games that you have to have on your schedule, because that's how you help attract kids to your program.
Gino, why did you want to bring back the Tennessee rivalry?
I didn't.
Good, honest answer.
It didn't matter to me, to be honest with you. It mattered maybe to a lot of other people, but I didn't get up every morning going, when are we bringing this back? I could care less. You know, we got enough problems with, you know, our schedule, the teams we got to play, that I never worried about it. But we were approached, let's do this, it's going to benefit, you know, a really good cause, let's do it. I said, fine, let's do it. And, you know, I don't think it means as much as it used to. I don't think it carries the same weight as it used to. The people are different, situations are different. So it's just nostalgic, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the biggest group.
You don't have to play as many power schools as you do, yet you have no games on your schedule, if I saw this correctly, from sort of a lower level league or a one-bid league kind of thing. Every school is a name of some sort before you get into the league. But why do you do that? You don't have to do that.
Well, I think a couple of reasons. One, our tickets are really expensive. So we charge a lot of money, and I think our fans are entitled to see really good teams. Two, I don't think enough people do that. You know, so you lose. You're better off losing to, say, us, than you are to losing to a team that's 200 in the RPI. So if you're going to take a chance on losing a game, lose to somebody really, really good, and somebody would say, you know, that's not a bad loss. So I don't think it's done enough. You know, so when you put those things together, I look for games where we're going to be really challenged, and our fans deserve to see really, really good basketball. So might come back to bite us, you know, this year maybe. I don't know, but I'll take my chances.
The men's game switched to the three-point line, international distance, foot out. What change would you like to see in the women's game? Go down the line here, start with Keith.
I think, you know, the shot clock maybe can be in a little lower to make the game faster. I think that would be interesting and fun, the pace. But I think we've made some good changes that, you know, advancing the ball in the last minute. I think that's been a plus. Going to quarters, I think people like that. You have more late game situations or late clock situations. So I think we've made some great changes, and the key is, I think, don't start just making change to be making change. I think, you know, they've made some good changes that I think that the fans have enjoyed, and I think we need to just keep being smart about what changes we do make.
I agree with Keith, and I think we've made a lot of changes. I'd like to see what happens with them. I don't really have any on there. I know we were talking about the three-point line last night and that. Brick's still out for me on the three-point line. I know Gino goes really strong as we should do, but you know, I like the changes we make. I'd love to see how this changes our game over the next couple of years.
And I would be more in favor of having our rules be more streamlined than the men's rules. I think it's confusing to fans. I don't think we should have 2 3-point lines. I think if we're going to play quarters and advance the ball, I think the guys should play quarters and advance the ball.
I don't know, I'm not in that decision-making part, but I would like to have it more streamlined so the game's the same.
Gino?
I agree with you totally. I think that having coached enough international basketball, they've got it right. So they've got 15-year-old kids over in Europe playing with the same rules domestically, and the kids don't bat an eye. And maybe that's why so many foreign kids, when they come here, are pretty advanced with the ball. Now, they don't have any interest in playing defense. Jose will tell you that. You know, he says they work on it all the time. You can't get a foreign kid to play defense if their life's dependent on it. But they're really, really good with the ball because they grow up having to play a little quicker, having to play with the lane maybe a little bit wider, the lines back a little bit. You know, the rules are meant to showcase their skills, and I think we've made so many great strides that I think now moving the linebackers is a step backwards for us.
Gino Mariema, Phil DeMosky, Lisa Sox, Keith Adams, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.